What is self-inquiry? It is the most blissful activity in life because it is through which we realize the truth and become capable of dropping all miseries. Self-inquiry is not a mental practice, unlike other spiritual practices in which ego is very much kept safely to do the so-called practice. It is not a cultivation of habit. It is a heightened awareness, a liberating process, a creative self-discovery which frees thought feeling from bondage of limitation of ego. The beauty of self-inquiry is that it's a verbal quest with perception to the heightened awareness to know the nature of ego and comprehends its activity, rather than an inquirer as now trying to manipulate the ego and its activity. Ego is an epiphenomena like rainbow, and it is not substantial and is formed during interaction between you and the other. You are identified with it, and this identity with ego as me is just a habit. Calling the substitute self as ego, the me, is the original sin. You are continuously giving it energy to it. It is a dead entity, became established because you are giving it energy, and so it is looking so alive and posing as though it is a real self. In self-inquiry, we go into the ego, its urges, compulsions, frustrations, desire to fulfill, which is becoming misery, strains, anxieties, struggles, sorrows, and other innumerable problems. Seeing all these facts with an inquiring mind, with heightened awareness, which is free from all beliefs, dogmas, and so which is beyond thought. Mind in the present status is not fit to do self-inquiry because it is not a free mind. Its awareness is entangled in the network of thought, and it became one with it. This network of thought itself is unwanted furniture, polluting the biological mind, which is natural. So we have to free the mind from this network of thought, commonly called the ego. Once the mind is free from conditioning like that, it is filled only with awareness and is capable of doing self-inquiry. So still mind is sine qua non for inquiring into self because ego mist evaporates only in the fire of heightened awareness. Self-inquiry is not an effect of one part of mind observing the other. The fact is that there is no place for effort in self-inquiry. Doing self-inquiry with effort is like dog chasing its own tail, but it never succeeds. And such an effort stops only when the dog realizes that, that its tail is its own part. Similarly, a human must realize that in deliberate self-inquiry, the observer and the observed are both conditioned entities of the mind, and there is no use of such effort, however sincerely it is done. So self-inquiry is a just stand from thinking to understanding of the nature of ego. Now, how that just stand to happen? All of us feel that we are aware in the waking mode of mind. But that awareness is in the grip of tendencies inside which leads the mind to get attracted towards the objective reality, thus causing the awareness to be distracted by trivia in the objective reality, like amassing wealth, the pursuit of pleasure, running after name and fame, etc. And a constantly struggling mind like this cannot watch. In such context, awareness is in the grip of objective reality, and so can never be centered. Unless we are uninterruptedly aware and comprehend the self-activity, we are likely to identify with the ego again because it is an age-old habit to get identified with it. In self-inquiry, when we start negating the things imposed on our consciousness by the society and to some extent by us, we will know that our nature is pure consciousness. Child is born as tabula rasa with tendencies in seed form at birth, but is unaware and so ignorant. And if we can negate the imposed conditioning and spend our tendencies, we can claim back the tabula rasa in full awareness, which amounts to self-realization. This is the state of a jnani. That negating of conditioning out of understanding is real discipline, and responding directly from the consciousness is maturity and religiosity. Just by belonging to a particular religion, you are not religious. Religiosity is not that cheap. Only men without understanding belong to certain organized religions, ideologies, concepts, beliefs, respond from fixed point. But life is a flow. There is no fun of responding from the dead past. When you respond to present from the past memories, it results in conflict. The continuous response from the past to the life in the present results in continuous conflict, and that continuous conflict is called the ego, and we are identified with that. Ego is a mist that is formed during interaction between you and the other. When we see things through the mist of ego, things look distorted and action born out of it is incomplete and leads to conflict. So ego is a state of psychological immaturity. Self-inquiry helps the mist of ego to evaporate, and then we start looking things as they really are. Awareness is the wiper, and that wipes out the ego mist. As awareness is heightened and our action is complete, the ego mist stops rising. Ego mist is the result of incomplete action born out of unawareness of self-activity. And if we can set aside that ego by going beyond it and start learning to respond to the present spontaneously from unconditioned mind instead of responding from the ego, then we know what it actually means to live. If awareness is not wasted in trivia, it goes on accumulating and we become a reservoir of awareness, and because it is not distracted by unnecessary occupation. And when the reservoir of awareness reaches a certain break-even point, the jump, the quantum leap, the awareness falls back on itself, and transformation of the mind happens instantly. In this luminous, pure witnessing awareness, self-inquiry and understanding happen. Self-inquiry leads to a space where you can drop all effort in the name of spirituality. Till then, real self-inquiry does not start.